sometimes making money on the farm or homestead looks a little different than what you think it's going to. It's not always selling milk and eggs. It can look a lot of different ways, and you don't have to get onto YouTube and you don't have to dance on TikTok in order to make money for the homestead, in order to live your dream. And the guest I have today is really has got a unique way that she helps support the farm. And so I'm really excited about this. You may hear birds in the background, my husband on the tractor, the children playing with the dogs, or blowing their nose, or a diaper being changed. There's many things going on in the background today, but this is Real Life on the Prairie with Donita Fogelman of prairiedusttrail.com. And I have Jennifer Elia with me today from Secret to Visibility Online. Thank you for coming on, Jennifer.
Thank you, Donita, for having me. I'm really excited to be here today.
You've got just a really fun story. I've really enjoyed watching your family move. You came from New Jersey, right?
Yeah.
To the Prairie
Yes.
and moved to South Dakota. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I always say that my whole family lived in the same town until we didn't, because my husband and I grew up together in the same town, and then we raised our family there. But from the time we were teenagers, we really wanted to move someplace else. We just didn't know where. Like, we knew the type of life we wanted, but we just weren't finding it. And so for years we went back and forth and looked here and looked there. And then I guess it's about 8 years ago, we moved to our previous house, and I said, you know what, maybe we need to just admit that we're staying. And so we bought our quote unquote forever house, and built a big garden, and put in lots of berry bushes and got rabbits. And we thought that we could get chickens and stuff, but we couldn't, which was really upsetting to me, because I'd wanted chickens for so long. I'd been taking gardening classes and homesteading classes and reading all the books. And so we were there for about 5 years. And my husband had lost his job in the city, which was part of what was holding us to the Northeast. And my business became really the primary income source for our family, even though at that point it wasn't what it needed to be. And life got crazy. And we finally said, you know what, we've had enough. Like, we just had enough. And so we started looking. It took about a year of looking, but then it took 8 weeks when we finally decided, like, we're going to move. We bought a house in South Dakota that we hadn't seen. We packed up the kids and the rabbit and my fig tree, and we drove cross country to move here, with the idea that my business could go anywhere, because I do digital marketing. None of my clients, well, I had one client that was in New Jersey, but most of my clients were all over the country, all over the world. So it didn't really matter where I was. I say I was typing on the way out the door because I just kept working until we left. And we bought a small homestead in South Dakota, that has 2 houses on it. So we live in the main house, and then we have a small house that we rent out as a short-term vacation. It's basically a hunting lodge, for people that come.
That is just so much fun. I've gone through some of your chicken escapades with you since you were finally able to get chickens. And chickens are, yeah, people think chickens are going to be so easy, but they are not. A chicken can just decide to die for no reason.
Yes. And so many times it's like, I'm like, Donita tells me birds just die. It's okay. And that's like one of my mantras that I repeat when something happens, because yeah, they always tell you get chickens. It's a good way to start. And I don't think so. I don't agree with it at all. The chickens have been the hardest thing that we've done, and we've done quite a few animals, and the chickens have been the hardest. So, yeah.
Yeah, chickens can be really hard. Well, I love the way you have integrated your homestead into your business. as well as your business, helping support the homestead, you will post like a picture of one of your chickens. And then you talk about how what you're learning on the homestead applies to marketing. And that's part of how you're teaching people online. Can you talk about how did you start doing that?
Um, I think it really happened by accident. I'm always looking for something that I can share. As a digital marketer, I was originally a copywriter and I'm a published author. So I like to tell stories. And I think that stories are the best way to teach people anything. We've really kind of lost that art in our society, but for generations, that's how they taught you things. That's where fairy tales came from. They were cautionary tales. Like you're supposed to learn a lesson from. And like Aesop, I love Aesop. Been addicted to his books. But anyway, so I'm always just looking for something to share that can be relevant. And so since the farm is just such a big part of what we do, like even though we are not full-time farmers and we're not commercial farmers, it's just like that is part of our life every single day, the animals and the plants and whatever else is going on. Um, and I'm always looking for material in everyday life that people can. And so I started posting some things because, especially like in the garden, it just like applied. And then I started to become known for sharing about homesteading, even though that was never what I really intended to be known for. It wasn't an intentional thing. It wasn't like I said, well, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to figure out how homesteading relates to marketing and teach. It was just something that happened because it was what was going on in my life. And like I said, it's so blended in, like my business and we homeschool and the homestead and everything just intertwines. It's not really, you can't really separate it because it's all just part of life. And so I was surprised at how people responded to it and how much they enjoy hearing the stories. And now I've been doing a video series on LinkedIn, which is very good, and I've gotten good um, response to it, but I'm not getting the same response as if I'm sharing about like the farm and the animals. And so I need to get back to farm and animal stories very soon because
Maybe
people
you should interview the chickens and
now they're locked up because we're on blizzard number 4 of the winter. So
oh, it's been a booger this year. It really has.
gave them a treat and I said, I'll see you tomorrow.
Well, yeah, this is part of why I'm starting the new magazine. And I'm really excited about this new project this year and doing this magazine. There's several great homeschooling or homesteading magazines out there.
Mm.
But the big thing that I think is just should be our main focus all the time is our faith. And your faith in your homesteading and in your business is also a huge part of what you do. And could you talk a little bit about how your faith relates to your business and your homestead?
Well, that's another thing that I feel like it's hard to separate. I think that, we've built our family on our faith, like that's our bedrock. And I've had to make some hard decisions sometimes that some people are like, well, you're crazy for walking away from that. But I said, I need to stay true to myself because not only do I need to look in the mirror every morning, but like at the end of the day, really, I need to answer to God. So, um, it's always been part of it. But I think that when you get into this lifestyle, you need to be somewhat dependent. Even though everyone thinks that homesteading and self-sufficiency makes you independent, you're not. You're dependent. You're dependent on the weather. You're depending on animals when they decide to die or when they decide to calf or like if you get rain or you don't get rain. There's so many things you can't control. And I was actually listening to an interview the other night, and they were saying, "Oh, everybody wants to go to the simple life, right?" Which I think that there is a beauty in living more simply. But they're like, it's not easy. Like simple is not easy. You put a seed in the ground, but you cannot control if it grows, if it doesn't grow, if the locusts come like we had last summer and just wipe out everything that you planted. Um, and so we've really had to even more rely on that and just trust that like what's happening right now seems awful. And this is totally not what we planned. right? You know, like the locusts and the drought, or we had baby kids and we were so excited and they both died. And um, it's just like, oh, you know, like, what is this all about? But you just need to trust that it all works out. And in the end, it does. But that trust of realizing how small you are in the world, um, I think if you don't have the faith, I think that's where people give up, because you have to just trust that there is a reason for everything and that there's someone that's orchestrating this, that you're not just a victim of circumstances. Because if we didn't have that faith, if I wasn't like I was praying every morning on the way to the chicken coop, or, you know, up at night praying over a sick goat or whatever it was, just for like peace and consolation and direction, um, I think we would have given up. I mean, I think so many times we thought, like, what are we doing? And there have been tears and there has been frustration and there's been arguments because there's just all these big emotions. But what has kept us going is that we feel like God opened this door. We prayed very hard for this, and this house showed up, and it like it fell into our lap, and our house sold very quickly, and like everything happened so fast. And I was like, hold on. And Drew's like, well, when you play, that's my husband. He's like, when you pray to leave, so you can't be like, don't make me leave. But it was like whiplash. So I think that's when you get into that nitty gritty, it's not what it looks like in the magazines. And it is hard. And there's times that, as much as I love living here, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I really just don't feel like feeding those chickens. You know, like I like my chickens and everything. I just don't feel like feeding them, but you have no choice. And I feel like that also shows us the father's love, because, you know, like how often are we those chickens that are out in a blizzard and are unruly and making a mess of the coop and, you know, like eating eggs and stuff, but he still shows up and provides every single time. And so it is really a faith journey, and I don't know how you would do it without that.
I agree. I agree completely. I've always felt that way about homeschooling too. I know there are people uh, that are not in faith that
Mhm.
homeschool, but I don't know how they do it. I have absolutely no idea how they do it. Um, yeah, it's such a huge part, and that also goes into your business as well. You know, there's times that we don't feel like marketing. The last thing I want to do is get on TikTok and dance. I'm not going to say that I will never get on TikTok and dance because I enjoy dancing, but to do it, to record myself and put myself, I'm not, no, I'm not there. I'd rather put a little video of the chickens doing their thing.
Well, yes, and I think that there's like our plan and God's plan, and sometimes they align perfectly. And that's when you're like, wow, you know, like look at everything that happened. And sometimes they don't. And you can get stuck in a place of, why isn't this working? Instead of saying, what is it? Like, where are the doors that are open that I'm missing? Because there's always a door that's open, and it may not be the door that you want. And, you know, I can't say that what I'm doing now is that I sat down and said, well, this is exactly what I want to be doing at 47. It's something that evolved through my life, and doors that have opened that I've chosen to walk through. And I know that when I have fought those closing and opening doors, like life is hard and miserable when you're fighting that. And so if you don't have that focus on, where is God leading me? And what is the purpose in what I am doing? And how is God providing in the situation that I'm in? Because providing doesn't always mean that, you know, you sell 100 books or that you meet your monthly goal or any of that. You know, providing doesn't necessarily mean that things come easy or you have everything that you want. It just means that you have what you need, and He sustained you to another day until you can do it again. And really, we only have today. You know, we like to make goals, and I'm a list maker and a planner, and but really we only have today. That's all we have. And when you can focus on that, like, this is the day the Lord made, you know, and this is what I'm going to do in it. And if this is my last day, what do I want to be able to say I accomplished in this day? You know, like what is the most important thing of what I am doing? It isn't going to be whether you made $1 million, you made $10. It'll be the impact that you made and the legacy that you left, and that you followed that leading of the Lord wherever it led you. I mean, I don't think it looks the same for everybody. We like to put people in little boxes in modern society, and it just doesn't work because God designed us all different and unique. And that's what makes the world so exciting. And if we don't step into who He designed us to be, we're leaving, you know, they talk about the tapestry of His plan. Like we're leaving whole swaths of the tapestry blank because we failed to follow through on that one simple mission. And it could be something very simple like raising chickens in your backyard, but that's your mission. And when you fulfill it and you build a legacy from it, then that is the best thing that you can do. And then all the provision will come after that. You know, whatever you need will come from that. It's just really being faithful in what He asks you to do.
I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. I mean, if you just watch all the popular YouTube videos, and I'm proud of them for doing their thing. And there's some great stuff out there, and I've learned some things from that. Being a generational homesteader doesn't mean that I know all the stuff, you know, but it maybe means that I know a little better of how to prioritize for your specific needs. And I see them coming out of the cities and going to a homestead on the other side of the Mississippi, where there's a lot more rain. You know, on the prairie, we've got a lot of wind and not as much rain. And we've been going through a drought. And if you follow what they've done, and if they've got a big barn built and they've got these big garden boxes, and you know, they've had some capital to put into that. And sometimes that's not what you've got. You pick out your homestead and you buy it, and you're stuck with what you've got until you can make that work in order to invest more to build the barn or whatever. And it takes time. It isn't just a go out and have everything and be off grid and doing all the things all at one time. And so many get completely overwhelmed with that because it looks so good on YouTube.
It does. And I even had a networking call with someone who it wasn't even about homesteading, but he found out that's what he's like, oh, well, I've always wanted to like buy a house. My wife wants chickens, and we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that. And his idea of it was kind of like collecting baseball cards, you know, like we're gonna get all these things and we're gonna have the manicured lawn. And it's like this, it's hard. Like when you're ready to do it, I'm happy to talk to you about it because I know how hard it is to be dropped into that. But like just thinking that, oh, well, we want to have chickens, but that's going to be like something we do on the side on the weekends or whatever. It's like, no, this becomes your life. You know, it's
Yeah.
not, it, not that we are in the chicken coop 24 hours a day, but your life revolves around the rhythms of the farm. And for him, it was kind of like, well, we're going to get in-ground pool and we're going to get chickens. And I was like, well, chickens are not the same as an in-ground pool. So
And you'll end up with a bunch of chickens drowning in the pool. So there's just, yeah. I like to tell people, just as soon as I get a good plan going, which I'm a big planner, but just as soon as I get a plan going, the cows get out. And
yes.
that is just, something is going to happen, some catastrophe. You're going to be taking an animal to the vet, or something is going to.
Yes, or bringing them into your basement or your front room or your office or whatever as they
Yeah.
recover and you treat them. And I never planned on having animals in my house. We didn't, well, we owned show rabbits before we came here because my kids have been in 4-H for a long time. And they were the only animals that we were really allowed to have, even though we had a fairly large piece of land. We weren't in the city, we were in a semi-rural community. But there are a lot of restrictions. And so we had show rabbits, but like they didn't come in the house. And then when we got here, I was like, okay, well, we can get a small dog for in the house, but everything else is staying outside. Well, they've like all been in the house. I was like, the goats are where I draw the line, but I'm sure at some point we will have a goat in our house in some way, shape, or form, because it's just the way it
Ours
goes.
always have their kids during a snowstorm or an ice storm, always. So we end up with the babies in the bathtub. It's just the easiest place to put them, and we put them in the bathtub, and then we take them out, or the children. I've got children to do this for me now, so they take them out and let them nurse, and yeah, it's like it's an old farmhouse. I don't expect it to be immaculately clean anymore.
Mhm.
It's we've got an incubator that's hatching baby chickens, and we've got all kinds of things that are going on in and out of the house. So farmhouse, yeah. Do you live in a barn? Well, just about.
I can totally understand, there's those older in the Northeast, they have the barns that are attached to the house, like they have a long breezeway, especially in New England where they get really severe weather and it's very hilly and whatever. And I'm like, I would totally connect the house to the barn because I used to
Oh
think
yeah,
like, do you want your house connected to the barn? Like, I would totally connect my house to the barn if I could. In fact, we have a like 3-car garage that we converted. Like, we're in the process of converting into a barn. It's not a true barn, but my boys built a hay loft, and that's where we have some of our they built some stalls. That's where some of our animals are for the winter. And that's where we store all hay, and we have a feed room and whatever. Um, and I can't wait until I can save up enough money to connect the house to, because it's a detached garage,
ah,
to
yeah,
there. And I don't have to try to walk through a foot of snow and like slip on the
yeah,
wind and everything. Like, yeah, it would. This morning I went out in a blizzard and the snow was coming down so fast. And I was like, oh, that breezeway cannot come fast enough.
yeah,
My husband's not sold on the idea, but he doesn't do the chores. Like, he has his own jobs on the farm, but it's not chores. So I don't think he quite understands the struggle.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. I definitely get it.
yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm so excited to see what else you all do with your homestead, because it's been a lot of fun, visiting with you and watching it grow throughout the last few years. And now your business, Secret to Visibility Online, what do you offer people there?
So what I focus on, and I think I have a little person coming to visit me, it's all part of having people with, oh, good, you found your book.
Yes.
Okay, she found a book that's been missing. Okay, thank you. Goodbye. Can't read that right now. Okay. Anyway, I try to schedule these when daddy's home, but still it's
It happens. That's family life.
yeah. Anyway, um, I help people mainly with the strategy and the planning of their marketing. So it's not these how to get 10,000 followers quickly or how to do this or how to dance on TikTok. It really is this is how you create a presence and set yourself up as an expert online that you attract the right audience. So part of that is the telling the stories and sharing your own story and building a community that people flock to. And so I do have a community that is an entry level community for people to learn about marketing, have a question answer coaching session with me once a month, and then have an implementation session once a month so they can actually get their marketing planned and scheduled and worked out and not feel like they're in their office or wherever they're working, banging their head against the wall, not able to do it. It's for the solopreneur that's frustrated because I've been there. Like, I totally get it, even though I'm a marketing professional. So that is a community that I'm building that I would love people to join because that accountability and the support is what people keep asking for time and time again. Um, and then I also do fractional CMO work where I go into businesses and build their strategies or run their launches, run their marketing. So I work with the bigger businesses and the smaller businesses and help those small businesses be able to thrive and not get sucked into these marketing scams that take all their money. But this way they have the time and the energy and the space in their life to build whatever their dream is. It may not be a homestead with homeschooling their kids, but there's some reason why they started that business. And so this will create that space and that income generation that will let them live that dream.
And I'm really looking forward to it. I've taken a few of your workshops and boot camps and classes, and I know my business presence has really grown online, and it's really helped me connect with people a lot better. And I'm an introvert and I'm a homebody, so getting online, I want to just do the blog post or whatever and then go about my business, and you can't really do that. But the strategies that you give are really doable, and they help make things where it's not as overwhelming. So where can they find you?
Well, the best place to find me is LinkedIn. If you look, and I can give you the link to put in the show notes, or at secrettovisibilityonline.com. That is my website, which is currently in a revamp, but to release some new exciting things that I have. But those are the two best ways to connect with me. I am on most of the major social media platforms, but LinkedIn is kind of my happy home where I spend the most time. So I'd love to connect with people there.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being on today. I really appreciate it. And good luck with your chickens and the goats and
Yes,
and the
thank you. And I
breezeway.
can't wait for your magazine. I'm really
Uh,
looking for the first issue coming out.
oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So, if you would like to sign up for the magazine, go to prairiedusttrail.com, and right there on the top, I've got a link, a button for the magazine, and definitely subscribe. And leave us a comment and let us know, if you've got some ideas and some things you'd like to learn about or people you'd like to hear from. I'll see if I can get them on the show. And thank you so much for listening. And we will see you later.